To solve this question, let's consider the number of possible outcomes for different scenarios before we can determine the probability that we're trying to find. So we've got a situation where there's a couple that decides to have 4 children, and we want to know what the probability is that they'll have at least 2 girls. So for each child, there are 2 possible outcomes, a boy or a girl, and since there are 4 children, the total possible outcomes is going to be the product 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 to the 4th, or 16. So there are 16 total outcomes for this scenario. Now, before continuing, it's going to save us some time if we consider that the possible outcomes of having at least 2 girls is the same as the total possible outcomes, which we already figured out to be 16, minus the possible outcomes of having 0 or 1 girl. So that's going to be a little bit faster. So let's figure out the number of outcomes for having 0 girls. Well, the only scenario where we're going to have 0 girls is if we have 4 boys in a row. So there's 1 possible outcome for 0 girls. Now, let's look at the cases where we would have 1 girl. That can happen if we have a girl followed by 3 boys, or a boy, then a girl, followed by 2 boys, and you get the idea. Another outcome would be B, B, G, B, and finally the last outcome for this case would be B, 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 G. So you can see that there are 5 possible outcomes for 0 or 1 girl. So the total possible outcomes for at least 2 girls is going to be 16 minus the 5 cases that we just figured out, which gives us 11. Now we're looking for the probability. So the probability is going to be given by 11 over 16. And the correct answer is choice E.